This episode is sponsored by 22 Threads. Check out their new stores, New Haven of Beats, and Nutmegger golf collections on 22threads.com. Hey, excited for another episode here in our series with Jelani Stafford. So, Jelani, welcome back. Good fun week you had last week.
Absolutely, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so let's look back a little bit. Obviously, week one wasn't exactly what you guys had hoped for at Maryland, but you guys turned it around in this game week two against Merrimack. What do you think were some of the keys to getting things back on track and being able to pull out a good performance there on Saturday?
I think part of it was kind of going out there and going through, what we went through up in College Park. We kind of got humbled, punched in the mouth, but I think we learned a lot about ourselves as a team. That we are a good football team. We are in fact a good football team, and that we got punched in the face, and we figured out a way to pull ourselves back together, and we put together a good week of prep for Merrimack, and then we went out there and we did what we did. So.
You've been here at UConn when things haven't always been the easiest. How does this team in particular kind of come together after a tough loss like that one in Maryland, and instead of kind of falling off the tracks a little bit more and kind of going off track from that loss, being able to spin that and turn it into some positives, and then ultimately see that on the scoreboard on Saturday?
Coach Mora just does a really good job of speaking life into us, and not just Coach Mora, like the entire staff. Like they've invested so much into this team, and they see how much we've invested into this team, and they're not going to let it go down the drain. And same for the older guys on the team who are captains who've been here. We also won't let it go down the drain. So I think it obviously comes from the top first. Coach Mora comes to us, and we take his words and we put them into action, and then as leaders on the team, we take those things they say to us and then we implement them to the team and just make sure they're all coming full circle. So
Yeah.
that's really all. We just try to make sure we stay together. It's stuff like that. It happens, but like it obviously shouldn't have happened like that. But I mean, what's happened in the past has happened, and we're just looking forward to the future and just keep getting better as a football team.
I'm curious from a football standpoint, how tough is it prepping for that week one game where maybe you're not quite sure what you're going to get out of there? It's your first time as a team coming together and actually playing a game. It's not like basketball where maybe you get a couple scrimmages in against some other team.
Mhm.
It's just been all you guys, and now you've got to go up against another opponent who you may not have a ton of film on or know exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you said you hit the nail on the head with that one. Like, at least defensively, like there was a lot of different pieces that were on film. Well, that weren't on film because the transfer portal and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like there were a lot of guys that we weren't expecting to play, and they did. So like it's not like we weren't prepared for it. Obviously, we were prepared, but just stuff like that. You never know until you go out there and you put your hand on the stove, and then you know what I mean. So, but what's really cool is that we have the tablets on the sideline, and like you have the coach to player communication stuff
Yep.
going on now. So that stuff's obviously been really helpful to make adjustments. So even if you start the game and you thought you were going to see a certain look and you don't get that look, you can look at the iPads with the instant replay, and you could obviously make your adjustments from there.
Yeah. So going from week one into week two into the game against Merrimack, what were kind of the focuses from a defensive standpoint that you really spent that week working on that you thought paid off in that game on Saturday?
Uh, some of the biggest things were obviously like leverage and tackling because obviously you could see in game one that was a really big deal for us. It was a really big problem. And by no means are we all the way there yet. Like we still have a lot more to do. You could even see in the Merrimack game. Obviously, it's hard to get lost
Yeah.
and not see all those things because the score was what it was. But for our standard and how we play defense, we know it wasn't good enough. So we still continue to working on tackling and leveraging the football because that's what our defense is based off of. If you can't leverage the football, you can't tackle. You might as well go out there and play on air.
Yeah.
So
As you look back at Saturday's game, just give me some thoughts from your side. Obviously, from a defensive standpoint, you guys pitched a shutout for a while. Just getting to see the offense put up 60 plus points, which you don't see all that often. What was it like from your perspective being on the field for that?
it was nice, man. I mean, we had a much larger crowd than I'd initially anticipated. When things don't go our way around here in terms of winning games, you don't really expect the crowd to come out and support. Once you hurt their feelings or hurt their heart, it's hard to get them back around. But it was good to see that everybody was there still to support us. They obviously brought the energy. The student section brought the energy for sure. That was probably the most packed I've seen the student section in a while. Um, and just defensively, man, like you start to see guys get excited again. When you're making plays, and there's this thing that we harp on is like celebrate with each other, and that was a really big thing for us on Saturday. Like, when someone made a play, everyone got excited, and we were all actually having fun playing football. Like that was another thing that we talked about post Maryland is like, man, we looked like we weren't having fun out there, and that was a really big focal point. All of last week's practice going into Merrimack, and then obviously on game day is like have fun doing it because you're only guaranteed 12. We already wasted two. Well, not wasted two. We already played two.
Yeah.
You only got 10 more. You know what I mean? So just we were really having a lot of fun on Saturday, and we plan to have a lot of fun this week in practice as well, and competing hard. So
Football season is here, and you know what that means. Tailgates. Make your next game day spread unforgettable with Martin Rosel's Meats. For over 96 years, they've been crafting the highest quality hot dogs, kielbasa, and sausages using fresh, never frozen meats sourced right here in the US. Whether you're grilling up at home or at the stadium, Martin Rosel's has the flavor that will make your tailgate the talk of the season. Visit martinroselsinc.com to find their products near you and to taste the tradition. How do you carry over some of that success that you had on Saturday, into Duke, into the rest of the season going forward based on what you guys did?
it was really just stacking days, man. Like I said, today we had a great Tuesday practice. Like those Tuesday and Wednesday are your most important days of practice. And we started off hot today. It was very competitive with our offensive and defensive periods versus one another. And obviously in our service period, scout team, stuff like that. So you could tell there was an edge. Like there was an edge today. And that guys are really excited for this one. Like Coach Mora brought it up to us after the game. Like immediately after we won against Merrimack, he's like, "All right, you guys know what we got now. Like we got Duke. Like
Yeah.
let's be all happy. Let's celebrate. Let's fill this one. But we got Duke now." And he was telling us like it's been what 12 odd years, so 12 years since we've beat Power Four, Power Five team on the road. So we're looking forward to getting that done.
Yeah. Have you started to take a look at some Duke tape? And if so, what's kind of stands out to you about this Duke team?
I started watching Duke as soon as I got home Saturday night.
There we go. I like to hear that.
um, a couple things I could take away. They're really RPO heavy, so we have to just follow our rules in the back half. And I don't play DB, so I can't
Yeah.
speak for them. But I know that's a big component. Just following your rules in the back half, and we got to play the run stout up front. And they got some big and tallish O linemen, but I mean those are the guys I like to play against personally because I can use my height and my leverage against them. And I know Dow's excited and Jack Barton's excited to play these guys up front because that's all we keep hearing about. I mean, it's all these guys are so big. Like I never really, I'm not gonna take anything from them. One thing that we live by in the
Yeah.
defensive room is like you respect everyone, but you fear no one. So that's just where we're at with it.
Yeah, I know from a defensive standpoint, Coach Morris talked about, maybe some of the issues in the Maryland game where guys maybe making individual plays versus the defense working as a full unit. How's that something that you guys have worked on since that game to kind of propel you guys the rest of the season here?
Coach Brock does a good job when we watch film as a unit that he shows us those clips and
Yeah.
examples of guys, doing their own thing and obviously doesn't work. Versus when we all do, our jobs collectively, that's when good things happen and that's when all the good stuff, it all comes together, it all works for us. So just getting coached hard by Coach Brock and the rest of the defensive staff, just making sure everybody's staying on track, doing their job. Like that's how we kind of rectify that whole situation.
I know you're a very team first guy, but when the offense goes out there and puts up 60 plus points, were you disappointed at all? You didn't get in on the scoring there?
No. Man, if you can go back and watch instant replays or see anything, every time those guys scored a touchdown, I'd go to the offensive bench and I would literally scream, shout, and just like be super excited for those guys up front, especially the O line. Like
Yeah.
those are the guys, that don't really get talked about, but those guys won the day, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, for sure. I think one thing that stood out, even in the Maryland game, with not necessarily showing up on the scoreboard, I've been impressed by the receivers on this team, and you really saw them do a good job again against Merrimack. Going up against these guys in practice and seeing them, are you impressed by what they've been able to do so far this year?
Absolutely. I mean, we have a loaded wide receiver room. We have a lot of guys who could do a lot of different things. We got Easy. He's a vertical threat down the field. He's very tall, very lengthy. You got TJ, he's got the short area quickness to make plays, off the ball and things like that. And you got Skylar Bell who could do a mix of everything, and we still got Brett Buckman in the fold in there and just a whole bunch of different guys, man. Like those guys are really talented. And I think they do a good job when we put the ball in there.
Yeah. How tough is it just from a player perspective? And I'm sure you've probably had this where you might not have been starting and then you get put into more of that role. Seeing Joe go out there as a guy who wasn't the starter and being able to perform still at such a high level. What does that say to you about him and what he's able to do out there?
Man, Joe is like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like Joe's the epitome of like a great teammate. Like Joe, the thing about Joe, man, you've never seen him complain. You've never seen him hang his head. You've never seen him pout or have bad body language. Like Joe just shows up to work every single day and does whatever he can. Like he does whatever he could, to help the team win. Like he doesn't take a day off. He doesn't, walk around here like, oh, like I'm not the starter. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like Joe, he's a guy who's gonna wait for his opportunity, and if it comes, it comes, and he's gonna make the most of it. And obviously, as you can see, that's what he did on Saturday, tying Orlovsky's record, 5 touchdowns in a game. Shout out Joe. And yeah, man, like it's just Joe's someone that I'd like to be around. Like that's a good teammate. People like that. And we need more people like that.
Yeah. Um, I know, and I talked about this a lot with Jackson last year as we move away from UConn. I know we would talk. He was a big Giants fan. You're a Steelers fan, am I right? All
Absolutely.
right. So how'd you feel after week one for the Steelers there?
We're 1-0. We're 1-0, man. I'm not gonna lie to you though. I definitely didn't watch the game like I should have, but I had some other stuff going on. I was obviously, in tune with the film and stuff, watching Duke. But I heard that Justin Fields made the start.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, as long as you get the job done, boss, I'm not mad.
Yeah, you got some time. You got a plane ride coming up. You can watch some highlights
Right.
on that ride down to Duke. Uh, I'll wrap with this. This is the fun one. I know summer's really over now. We're really in the fall season, but one of my favorite things about summer is ice cream. I love UConn Dairy Bar. What's your favorite flavor at the Dairy Bar when it comes to ice cream?
Husky tracks.
Okay, all right.
Gotta be the Husky tracks. Yeah, it's like a mix of everything. I think it's like chocolate, vanilla, it's like peanut butter too, I
Yeah,
think at some point in there.
got everything in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably my favorite.
All right, there we go. Nice way to end the summer and get ready for some more football. So, Jelani, really appreciate the time as always. Looking forward to the game against Duke on Saturday, and we'll talk afterwards and get ready for FAU.
Sounds good. Appreciate you having me.